Hello, hello. Good morning, afternoon, depending on where you are right now. You have a different view this morning because it's Coach Tanya plus an amazing woman of God, a friend, a servant leader. My sister Felice Kelly Gilliam is the guest host this weekend, helping us share this show. Sister Benicia is being poured into. You guys know we always talk about getting poured into,
Right.
and an opportunity came up for her. And so look, Sister Felice was more than happy to step up. Welcome, sis. Good
Thank
morning. Good
you.
morning.
Thank you, Tanya. Anytime I get an opportunity to hang out with my big sis, I'm all the way in. So thank you so much for just thinking of me. I know I have some huge shoes to fill, child, because
Girl.
Coach Venetia is something amazing. But we are gonna do our best, and our guests today definitely are gonna make it easy because they are so wonderful to work with.
Oh, yes, they are. But I'm going to tell you, I don't take it lightly that you are sitting. I mean, visually, you are across from me. Spiritually, we are locked arms. It's like ever since
Always,
we met, right? And
always.
when I say servant leader, I say it not so casually because that is, to me, I mean, it just oozes from you. I know a signature thing from you, and it's going to be all about you for a minute. So just sit still and take it in, right? Because you are one of the best compassionate professional women that I know. So servant leader just suits you. You're a number one best-selling author. We did it
Yay!
together.
We did that together, girl.
Yes, we did.
The
You are a
amazing
nonprofit.
current share.
I know, that's right. We lined up with the right. She has brought so many
Oh,
extraordinary people to my life. I don't know about you,
I'm telling
but
you.
mm-hmm, she's the best. And where every corner you turn, like everybody knows Karen, right? So
Right.
it's powerful to be linked with such
Yes, it is.
amazing people. And it's because of her that you and I are linked, and it's because of her that we're linked with one side and then the other side of this dynamic power couple.
Yes, yes.
So I can't wait to jump in. I do want to let everybody know what you do, though, because I'm prior military. A lot of people don't know that. I spent over 10 and a half years in the Army Reserve, and 2 of those years were active duty on TDY. And so I know the life of a military person. People say they call me a veteran, but to me, the people that have actually, served full time over the time that I have. I get yelled at all the time for taking that title from myself, but I
You
just know
do it.
so many that they're just quintessential veterans. And one of our guests is today, but the work that you do, I want to make sure I mention it because you are the executive director for the USO Gulf Coast, right?
Correct.
And
Yes.
that's a nonprofit agency dedicated to keeping service members connected to their family, their home, the country, throughout their time of service to the entire country. So I just want to say thank you and kudos to you for being the underbearing um, for all of us. I just think that's so awesome, and it figures because of the
Mhm.
passionate person that you are.
Well, thank
So thank
you.
you.
It's so easy. The work that I do is so easy. When you are working with our nation's military, there's no better population, than those that are giving their lives, them and their families. I try to never take away from the families because the sacrifice is of the whole family, not just the one that's serving. Everyone in that family is committing the
Mhm.
ultimate sacrifice for us and for our country. And I personally could not be the one to sign the paper. I'll be honest about that. I'm just way too
Yeah.
chicken to actually be the one to sign the paper. So for me, it's just such an honor to be able to serve them every single day. And even when days get stressful or get hard, because of course I'm doing fundraising and so many things to just make sure that the operation stays afloat, there's not a day that goes by that you don't feel good about the work that you do and the people that you are helping. So, yes, the USO is an amazing organization. I'm so proud to be aligned with.
Girl, they lucky. They lucky to have you. So I guess we better stop keeping, people in suspense that they already
Right,
know, but
right.
just to hear the voices and see, you know what? I'm not gonna say it annoys me, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be straight transparent. They are just too fine, the two of them. They just,
Let me
what
tell
is
you.
that about? Like,
They make
it's
you want to
look,
get in the gym.
you
Not
know what
only
I'm
do they
saying?
make you want to look at your spiritual health, but just your physical health. I mean, there
I
is
know.
not a more beautiful couple that I know that I have that are
That's
friends
what
right
I'm
now. They are
saying.
just absolutely amazing. Their energy together is amazing.
Mhm.
They look amazing together. You can tell the seeds that God was planting when He was putting the two of them together, just amazing. I cannot wait. I tell Dr. Yolanda this all the time. I cannot wait to see all of the wonderful things that God has in store for them because this is just the beginning.
I
Like
know they coming out the chute.
they've dated for a while, and they just recently came all the way on the scene. We'll let them talk about that later. But this is still just the beginning, so I can't wait to see 5, 10, 20 years from now. They're about to rock the world. Shake it up.
Yes, girl. Look, I know there's this yacht trip that I talk about all the time off the coast of Spain, and there's certain people that are gonna be on that yacht with me
That's
with a
right.
glass of cava in their hand. For those of y'all that don't know, that's what the Spaniards call that's champagne. Okay, so we might have to get the version of it that may not be that strong, but guess what? They're gonna be on the yacht. I see Dr. Yolanda in her big hat already with her sunglasses.
Okay.
So they're gonna be on the yacht. So I'm gonna bring them on the screen. But let me tell you a little bit first about this dynamic couple. First of all, Dr. Yolanda is also a best-selling author. I call her the queen of empowerment, right?
She is
She,
that.
maybe some other people call her that, but when I stepped on the scene, I'm an empowerment coach. And I was like, look, there's somebody I can look to emulate this actually. And I don't mean no harm when I say this, Felice. They actually care about a sister.
That's
It's
right.
not just, you know what I mean? It's
That's
not the blah,
right.
blah. You could feel it. You could feel her heart. And so when I first met her, I was like, oh my God, I said, Benicia, she got to be on the show. She's so real. I just want to have her around me. And then it happened, right? So I'm just so gracious. She's a business guru, CEO and founder of the Empowerment Solutions, YJ Empowerment Solutions. And because of who she is, she's well equipped to push people
That's right.
through and past their traumas. And I probably left a bunch of stuff out because they have all this stuff in the shoot already. They
Right.
came out swinging, y'all. Oh, we just seen each.
Blazing.
No, they could have just said we just seen each other. No, they came out dukes up, pow, pow.
Right. Right.
And so I want to bring on the screen first this beautiful lady, sister of us both. She
Yes,
is
she
a
is.
rock star, Dr. Yolanda Jerry. Come on up here, Dr. Yolanda. Talk to us this morning. What is going on with you? Welcome to Arise and Shine.
Welcome.
You got to come off
I
mute
had
because
to
we
get, I
about
had
to
to come off
leave.
of mute. I do it every time. But look, I am
I
excited
do
about
too.
being here with you ladies. Look, I love both of you all very much, and I love just being connected to you all. I'm excited about what we're gonna be sharing today, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna be tooting my horn about my bae that's gonna be coming up
Hey.
on this
I
stage
know
with me.
that's
So I'm
right.
just saying.
That's why I brought you up first because I don't think I could do the bio. I'm going to do the basics, but can't nobody talk about him but like you and Jesus. Okay. So
That's
I'm
right.
not even going to try. But let me ask you this. I want to ask you this question before he gets here, so he don't influence your answer. But if you could pick one thing about the pastor Frank Henderson that drew you to him, what would that be?
Mm.
Mm. That drew me to him.
Yes, ma'am.
You talking about before
I
I
got
spoke
you.
to him? Before I spoke to him, what drew me to him before he even opened his mouth? Or you talking about after he opened his mouth?
Oh, there's
Because
two
it's a
answers.
difference.
Now, we
It's a
want to
difference.
know
There's
It's
a
a big
difference.
to know both answers.
Right.
Look, I'm gonna give you the
Yes.
before and I'm gonna give you the after. So
Okay.
what drew me to him initially, I'm just gonna say, I mean, he's a chocolate, handsome looking young man. And look, it's
Come
all
on, let's bring it. See?
that beard, that gray in that beard, Jesus, Lord, Lord, get out of the flesh, Yolanda.
That's why we love you, okay?
Yes.
But I mean, he has beautiful skin and that beard just does something to me. So now if I was to shift over to what drew him to me when he started speaking, it's just the humility in him
Mm.
and the calmness and the peace. But let me tell you, he a lion too now. I'm just gonna put that up there.
All
He's a
right.
lion too when it's time, but he's just a wonderful man of God. I mean, just powerful. You know how they say, the power of a praying woman? Well, let me tell you, I have the power of a praying man in this one right here. And I'm glad to say that he is my bae, my future husband to be exact.
Amen.
Come on, come on, come on. Well, I'm gonna tell you the official stuff, and then we're gonna bring him on up because he's waiting in the wings. I'm sure he has something to say already. Something already to say. And I love what Carl put in the comments. He said, I'm gonna need y'all to keep it godly, okay? Keep it godly. Okay, Frank Henderson is a man of many talents and skills. He fares from Rocky Mount, North Carolina. I believe that's not too far from me.
Mm-mm.
Go Rocky Mount. And influenced by the leaders of his city that allowed him to hone his speaking and preaching skills under the leadership of Bishop R.T. McCarter and the Morning Star Church of Christ family. Now, growing up without a father figure, he's going to probably talk to some of that today. Really, I would say maybe the right word is chiseled how he is the man that he is today because of some of the journeys and the paths that he had to walk to get to where he is. At the age of 15, 1982, Frank gave his life to Christ. He began a journey of self-discovery, began to be awakened to the things he was born to do, not from his point of view, but from heaven's point of view. Mm-hmm. Some of us wait until we in our later years to figure that out, right? Started out as a songwriter and singer. I'm gonna need you to drop a note. So go ahead and get your tea, Brother Frank, because just don't be surprised. All right.
If you get him to sing, I'm gonna be like, look, how he can get all these other women to sing for him. I can't get a whole song. But okay, keep going.
I'm starting up trouble already, Felice. Look. So the church planter, that we're going to talk about because that is something that you have been doing over the past 20 years. You've planted churches in cities all across North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And people may know you for different things. He's a singer, he's the preacher, he's the bae, the official bae. He is the church planter. But he planted his last church in March of 2022 in a town where it all began for him in Rocky Mount. He has always been bivocational and supported himself and his family through his work as a financial professional. Skills and talents. What a list, right? So I'm bringing him up now because he can tell you what to do with your money. He can tell you how to walk in faith. He can tell you what is this? How to walk past hell. We're going to talk about that too.
Oh, yes.
Right? And for the brothers that are watching, he could tell you how to land a woman like Dr. Yolanda Jerry.
Okay.
I mean, come
And
on
keep
now.
her. And keep
Come
her.
on. Hey, that's right. And keep her. Amen. Let me bring up this wonderful man of God and the part 2 to the whole part. Here he come right now, Pastor Frank Henderson. Hey,
Hey,
What's up?
Pastor
In the building.
Frank.
How
welcome
y'all
to the
doing?
room, brother. Welcome. So honored to have you with us.
Glad to be here. Honored to be here. Incredible.
Yes. This is great. See, look, Felice, they in different background set. I'm still struck. I'm like,
Right.
it's so
They
cute.
you can see the God in them both. And then when they align together, it's just a beautiful thing. A beautiful thing.
Y'all
It
got me
really.
blushing.
I could see it. Don't worry, I could see it. I could see you blushing.
Oh boy.
I want to say good morning. Well, good afternoon. And I don't know if you see the comments, Felice, but we have a lot of folks in the house. I just want to give a shout out to, we have Tracy in here. Hey, Reagan. Reagan's in the house. We have Brenda, Young, and Jonathan is in the house. Lee Wright, Carl Jones Sr. And oh my goodness, we have people
Bishop Carl Jones. That's my uncle, Bishop Carl Jones.
Oh, he told us. He made it clear. He said, "That's my niece, y'all."
Come on, always, yes. Bishop, and always, Uncle. My apologies, sir. Honored to have you in the room. So, yes, this is going to be good. I'm going to need you guys to share this everywhere because we're going to have some real talk and conversation. You know, it's Domestic Violence Month, although that's a conversation that we should be having all year.
That's right.
It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, you know, so there's a lot going on. But above all, we're talking about love on this episode. We're talking about that love is not any of those bad things, and that love is a good thing. Love is a God thing. And so I want us to share from with this power couple bringing their forces together. I'm so excited, like Felice said, about what is to come. They've already started. So Felice, if you want to honor us and ask Pastor Henderson a question that'll make him blush, I would really appreciate it. Let's kick this thing off right.
Listen, I'm gonna make him blush by asking his woman a question because I know just her voice alone probably makes him blush. But I was thinking when Yolanda was speaking about just how initially, of course, she was brought to him by how handsome he was, his beard, and all the physical attributes. And then who he was and what he had to say aligned with that perfectly. And that really resonated with me because I've been married, you know, for a long time now. But I can remember back when you're single and you see somebody and they're attractive and you're like, okay. And then they open their mouth and you're like, okay. You know, it just does not align with what you as a woman of God you want to see for yourself. In their conversation is not
right.
what you know is uplifting for who you are. So as a woman, especially a Christian woman, what does that do to you, Yolanda, at this stage in your life to be able to have somebody that can not only physically feel your eye of what you want to see physically, but also mentally and spiritually be able to guide you and uplift you as well?
So good. Great question.
Well, let me go and get them blushing right now. Well, look, Felice, to answer your question, first of all, I'm just going to come straight out and just shoot and say he is every bit of who he say he is when it comes to, you know, being a man of God. Let me tell you, I done been through some stuff. I done went past hell a couple of times in my life. And, you know, I was very specific in my prayer when I went to God and said, look, if I'm going to be in another relationship, I need to be in a relationship with a man of God who actually is truly living according to what God says and his will. And because you can have people that say I'm a man of God and they still be doing some crazy stuff, right? And you can have a person that say they're a man of God and they say, that's it, I know God, but they don't go to church. They don't pray. They don't, they don't do all these other things that to me exemplifies what a praying man, a godly man should look like. And,
Right.
knowing, even though my father is now deceased, my dad and my uncle, Bishop Carl Jones, were the two men who always poured into me. But then going through all of the stuff that I went through, one of the things that I said to Frank was, I need you to fill this void,
Yeah.
and he took it and he ran with it. I was like, look, and he'll tell you, I was like, I need you to pray with me every morning. Cause my daddy used to do that, and I didn't have that in my past relationships because one, I was unequally yoked.
Right.
And two, I was always praying by myself. I was the one praying for us and covering us. But when I was growing up, my dad always covered us, or my uncle. It was always the men in our family. So I was looking for that. So when I went to God, I said, this is what I need. And I was very specific about saying, I need you to make sure that I have a man of God in my life. And it exemplifies what that looks like. But I didn't ask, when I didn't ask for the lead servant of the church. Okay.
He knows what we need, girl.
Yes, he does. He does. I'm counting on that, Felice. I'm counting on him knowing.
Amen.
They say don't question God, right?
Yes.
And I did. I was like, are you sure about this, Lord? Are you sure about this? But I humbled myself and I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna walk this out. I'm gonna walk this out. And that was one of the things that really, really that stuck with me about Frank. And then the fact that, chivalry isn't dead.
Come
Come
on, sister.
That too, it's like, he opens the door, he pulls out my chair, and now it's become habit that I know the things that I should let him do. But initially, he'll tell you the struggle was real. It's like he'll pop my hand. Let me open this door.
I'm so glad.
Let me walk on the outside of you. You should be walking on the inside while I'm on the outside where the street is. So he was exemplifying those characters of, being a gentleman and what that should look like. And I wasn't used to that. I hadn't really received that all my life except for the men in my family.
Wow, that's powerful, because a lot of times, as women, we become accustomed to just maybe receiving those things from the men in our family, but the person that is our provider, we aren't expecting for them to do those things, because in this culture, so much of that is lost. But Frank, where did you get that from? Did that come from your family upbringing, or did you just over time recognize this is how I want to honor women? This is how I want to honor my woman? Or was that something that you saw closely growing up?
I didn't see it growing up because I didn't have a father in the home. And most of the guys you go to church with, once I was 15, gave my life to Christ, I started paying attention in church. I'm a church boy from the baby carrier to now. And so I really gave my life to Christ at 15. I didn't grow up with a father. And most of the guys that I was around in church, I didn't see them being that way. I think it's just me reading outside of scripture, then taking it back to scripture to see that this is really, scriptural type stuff, like Christ loving a church, a man nourishing his wife like he nourishes his own flesh. Those are all biblical things from Ephesians 5. So I didn't see that. That's just God's process of maturing me over a long period of time. So I don't walk around thinking like, oh, I learned this. No, it's just over time. And then I think that everybody will eventually meet someone that will pull out of you everything that's in you when it comes to love.
Oh, wow.
You feel me? There's a person in the earth that could pull your lever. And you won't think about this is embarrassing. I don't want to look stupid. I don't want to be
Mhm.
this. You won't think about. You'll just know what love is, and you'll
Yes.
do it
That is so
Awesome.
over and
good.
over and over
That
and
is
over. You'll do it, and you won't
over
get
and
tired,
over.
Oh,
and you won't get
That's
that
weary.
is
You'll
beautiful.
just
good.
be like, "This is who God has created me to be," and I'm just gonna release all of that to her.
That is so powerful. And I so identified with what you said, Dr. Yolanda, because my having stuff done for me is not my normal. So essentially I know when my king comes, I'm gonna have to be meldable and flexible to create a new normal. Right now I'm pulling out my own chair and doing my own thing. Um, so I don't want to, I don't like it. I was born to have doors open for me. I was born to be somebody's queen. So I know he's in the shop right now getting some parts worked on and things like that. So he can work with what God has created for him. So but I'm hearing what you're saying, and I'm like, you know what? When he gets here, I'm gonna have work to do too.
Hmm.
You
That's
can't just
right.
unwrap the package, take the bow off, and play with the toy.
That's
There's
good.
work. As a single woman of God, if you've been walking by yourself for a long time, don't get it twisted. You're gonna have to let go of some stuff so that you can receive the gift that God's presenting you with. But if your hands are closed and you caught up in the this is how I've always done it, then how are you gonna get what God has for you? So I really identified with what you said. I think that that's a strong message that women need to hear out loud. He might have walked right past you because you had all these things in your arms
Right.
and you weren't ready to receive him, right? But Frank, I wanted to ask you too. That's heavy.
That is heavy.
That's heavy, and especially from a man who pretty much learned how to be that way from the other men in his life. And you cut your knee, you scraped your elbow a few times trying to figure stuff out. So that's a heavy thing to carry. Talk to us about what shaped Frank to be able to love like that
Yeah.
now.
Good
I
question.
think the thing that shaped me more than anything about love is growing up without my father.
Mhm.
And sometimes the parent that's not there, we forget how much power they wield. And
Yeah.
even the child itself will be, well, my mother's loving me, my mother's caring for me, my mother's feeding me, my mother's clothing me right now. But in the
Mhm.
back of a kid's mind, especially a young boy, he's
Yeah.
wondering, why is my daddy not here? Why do I never see my dad? I mean, growing up
Mhm.
in life, I think I'm 55. I saw my dad like 5 times
Good
in my
number.
life.
Wow.
So that shaped me because it puts this longing in your heart for
Mhm.
love. And, it puts that, it drives that engine, and you look for it in people, and you look for it
Mhm.
in relationships, and you look for it in churches, and you look for it in ministerial relationships. That's why we have a
Mhm.
lot of people in church now looking for a spiritual father or a spiritual mother. It's a driver inside of us where there are things we didn't get, but we had to balance that out and come at it correct. It just so happens that in this situation, I believe that love is the release of God's heart through you to a person.
Mm,
And in,
beautiful.
in
That's
my
good.
relationship with Yolanda, it's about me releasing God's heart for her as He's giving it to me. It just so happened to be that we're a kingdom exclusive romantic relationship.
Yeah.
That's
That's
so
awesome.
good. That is
Yes. Yeah.
so good, Frank. So let me ask you this. Do you feel like being that you did not have a father in the home and you did
Mm.
not see, how a husband was supposed to love a wife and nurture his wife, do you feel like just because you did not have that and it was something that you wanted to be able to do and longed to be able to do, that directed you? Or was it a situation to where you really had to learn how to be that person, and you just use that foundation to build on it?
No, I think when you don't have it, you're just hyper vigilant about it and you see it everywhere. It's kind of like when we were growing up, we'd sit on the porch in the projects and we'd just play this car game where it's like when you see a car, you'd be like, that's my car. You'd be like, punch the person, that's my car, that's my car. And then usually if you're punching for Volkswagen, that's all you see is Volkswagens. And so in my case was, because I didn't have a lot of that, I always looked for it. So wherever I went, if I saw an expression of love, it would capture me.
Yeah.
It would pull me in. It would pull me in a movie. It would pull me in a song. It would pull me in if I saw a couple, they were holding hands at the fair. I always have longed for that type of thing. And so when my chance came with Dr. Jerry, you know, I was going to take full advantage of it. I'm like, hey, God, you give me the alley, I'm going to give you the oop. I'm going to get it. We're going to make this happen.
Like my baby said, you shot your shot.
I emptied my clip. Do you hear me?
Yes, I know that's right. Well,
Yes.
well, guess what? It wouldn't be fair for you not to answer that same question. You know, what was it about Dr. J? I tease her, I'd say she the original Dr. J, but what was it about this woman of God that, you know, drew you to her, or drew her to you, however order you want to put it?
Well, I think the main thing is I saw her through a mutual friend. And I was looking at her pictures. I was like, wow. But I wasn't looking at her pictures like she's pretty. That's obvious. Her hairstyle. But I saw her doing some work. And, you know, teaching, sculpting people, building, telling a story. So when I talked to her, most of my questions were around her work. And so as we talked, I began to see she was a real deal. Now the wild thing is that same healing that she was shooting out the women, she was shooting it to me. So she has been like one of the most healing forces ever in my life.
That's so awesome.
She taught me how to plant churches. You can help people. You can disciple people. You can preach and teach to people. But that same word that you give out, you got to eat it yourself. You got to let it heal you too. Because I was always wondering why, as I'm helping young men and young women that grew up fatherless or motherless, why it would hurt a little bit when I was doing it. Because my healing wasn't there. And even though God was using it to heal me, I wasn't letting him give me all the medicine. And she was one of the people that showed me, you know, like, you got to eat this too. So,
that's so good. That is so good. I just noticed, Tanya, that my husband put a comment in about how not having a father really shaped him along the way to make him want to be a good father. And that's so powerful, because so many of our Black men, you know, are going through that. They're raised without fathers in the home. And you can see the positive story of that. And then you can see, you know, the complete opposite, where people just tend to go with what they know. But I think it takes a really strong person growing up and then even into their manhood to be able to take those experiences and say, I'm going to do differently. And that is definitely one thing I can say about, you know, my babe, Dr. Jerry. He definitely, you know, he mastered that. But not only has he mastered it, the thing that I can honor and respect about him the most is he still recognizes that he's in the learning process. So when you bring something to his attention, it's always, you know what? Yeah. And you can start to see a different direction. And that's something that you can really honor and appreciate in a person, somebody that recognizes we're all still in the learning phase. Even as parents, you know, we're still learning and figuring it all out.
Wow.
So good. It's so good. And what I love, what jumped out to me, is he fell in love with a woman of purpose. Not only were you a purposeful force in other lives, but because of what you do, not what you look like sounds like it was whipped cream with the cherry, right? But the cake, the actual cake, what you do was evident that it was for real because you started to heal him too. So that to me is powerful because that's what lasting stuff is built on.
Yes.
But all that other stuff's gonna fall away, you know. And I also too, Frank, am that magical, wonderful number of 55. So you know, we know some stuff, right? We done been
It's
through
some
some
wisdom
stuff.
come with that. That's right.
Yes. So you
Can I
know,
say something?
yes, you can,
I
sir.
wanted to say this because I think this is important, and I think men around the globe should grasp this and recognize it. Like, wife is not just a title;
Mm,
it's a work in a man's life.
Mm.
Every man needs to be wifed, just like every woman needs to be husband. And if we forget that, then we don't understand the purpose of
so
God
good.
really bringing two people together. He wants a godly seed in the earth so that whatever
Mhm.
is the fruit of those relationships is godly in the earth. But you got
Yes.
to understand that the person you're with is a powerful person that is coming to play a work in your life. Like, for instance, a man can be satisfied with everything, but be satisfied with nothing at the same time. And one of the
Mm,
ways
Come
that
on now.
God fixes it,
mm,
he fixes it
mm.
in the earth, is by giving him his own woman, his own wife, his own well to drink from, his own breast to satisfy him. It says, let her breast satisfy you at all times. There is something about the right woman in your life that brings satisfaction to you. And I think people forget that and guys forget that. But that's why you see guys always desiring women, but they don't want everything that comes with a woman. Because when she starts talking and she's bringing healing and she's bringing this feminine aspect of God that we call wisdom, a lot of guys don't want that. They want this, they want the soul in the body, but they don't want the spirit.
That's so good, Pastor. That is
Woo!
so powerful. But even just not, with the men as women, we too also have to kind of sit back and listen to that and recognize what our roles are and what God
Mhm.
has us here to do for you all. That is so good. Now, Dr. Jerry, you're going to have
Yes.
to let us know, with a man that has that part of it figured out, what as women can we do to stay in line with that and to nourish that part of their spirit and to pour into them the way that we expect for them to pour into us?
Yes, Dr. Jerry. What do I need in my purse? Tell me what to put in my purse.
Stop having that strong woman syndrome.
Mm, mm.
A lot of times people, and I'm gonna just say, us as women, we have such a strong sense about ourselves that we don't allow ourselves to go back to being vulnerable. And we feel like, I don't need a man to help me pay bills. I don't need a man to, do these things for me. But yes, you do need a man to do things for you. I mean, it's written in the word, that God put man and woman together for a reason, so you could be each other's support system. Otherwise, he would have just left the man there, and he wouldn't need no woman. So for me, it's just taking down that strong woman syndrome and say it's okay to be vulnerable in a space with a man once God sends you that man, and say, I need to be his peace. Don't be heckling in his ear. Don't be taking what's happening in the street to him. He's already fighting on a battlefield for us every day. And granted, we are too, but a man should be able to come home and be able to lay his head down on your lap and just be there in peace. And sometimes it don't have to be no words said. Just let him just let whatever it is that has on him to be able to fall off while you sit there and you just caress his head, or while you just pray over him, and while you just talk nothing but peaceful words to him, because they deal with a lot more stuff than we do. And some people don't see that.
I can agree with that. And not only that, I think that it's so important, like you said, just to honor that, to be able to give him a place to be able to debrief in a safe place, to know that he can come. That's really, really, that's so important. That's good stuff, Yolanda. Really, really
It
good.
really is. It really is good stuff. I want to take a quick second. I want to switch gears a little bit because I want to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that you guys are doing as a force, because you've shared with us how powerful you are as individuals, but you guys coming together is um scientific, really. It's the makings of a bomb. So talk to us about, where is this bomb exploding? What are some of the things that you guys are doing together? Either one of you can speak to that.
I'll let my lady go first. She's very versed in that.
Oh my goodness. Well, today we talk about love is power. The
Yeah.
foundation is love for us. And when you love God, there's no doubt about showing and expressing your love for each other, but showing it even to the world. It's so much going on in this world right now. We need love. And I'm not just talking about love just in relationships, but just spreading love to other people. It's just like yesterday. I mean, and Frank knows I do stuff off the cuff sometimes. When it hit me, I need to put it out. You know, People love. And if they see us loving on each other, that gives them hope, even if they're not in a relationship. They be like, man, look, Frank is 55 years old. Yolanda is 45 years old. And look at them. They're in love. That gives other people hope.
Yeah.
And you know what? He's gonna send me my man too. God's gonna send me my woman too. And we keep showing it. And not just that, we talk about relationships and how to cultivate healthy relationships. you know, Once you have that relationships, we are very transparent about our growth in our relationship. And we even said that even in our mission, we're going to show you, you know, the good, but we're going to show you even the things that we encountered that may knock us off, but how we got back to where we needed to be. So by us being transparent and letting people know about our relationship and showing them this is how you grow, we are not experts, and I'm gonna put that out there. We are far from being, and we will never call ourselves relationship experts or relationship gurus, but we will say that we will show you how us growing can help you grow.
Yeah. The wild thing is we have relationship gurus in the world today, and they talk about relationships a lot, whether they are pastors or they're life coaches, however they came to the party, they come to the party. But one of the things we got to be careful about is how people always try to warn us about people. And I always say you can't have a successful business that you never start. You can't have a successful relationship that you never enter into. You can't be a successful parent if you don't have any children. So sooner or later, you've got to engage life. Like I tell people, a turtle will never get anywhere if he doesn't stick his neck out. But we got so many people warning us about people, like, watch him. He didn't do this. If he don't do this, then he can't be this. And if she don't do that, then she can't be that. You don't know till you talk, till you actually engage. We want people to engage. We want people to talk. We want people to have conversations, but we tell them to do it with boundaries. Like, for instance, today in this world, people go out on a date, right? And they're together for 3-4 days, the whole weekend. They never leave each other. I'm like, bruh, just take her to the movies, to dinner, take her back home, drop her off, and see her the next weekend. Talk to her during the week. You don't have to spend the night. She doesn't have to spend the night. Just go on a regular date like your grandparents used to do. Or, like, hey, I brought you some food, man. I know you work hard. I came by your job and dropped you something off, or I came by your apartment. Now people go by people's apartments. Next thing you know, 2 days later, they got keys. Every time they wake up, they looking at each other. It's like, it's crazy. I'm like, just get back to simplicity.
Courting.
Courting.
That's good. That's good. But since you put that out there, where my tea at? So, because you all are a powerful couple, You have a lot of people that you are influencing. There's a lot of eyes on you, and you're a spiritual couple. You're Christians. You're a pastor, but you both some beautiful, good-looking people, and you both really enjoy looking at each other, and you can appreciate each other's physique. So, other than just
open the door, sister. Open the door,
other
sister.
than just dating each other, give those of us, because I've been there, as a single Christian, just really trying to stay on the plight of being saved and being single. What ways what do you guys do to just try to keep the relationship as godly and unfleshly as possible? We'll put it like that. You stepping out the room, sister, or you gonna give us your
No,
experience?
I'm stepping in the room. I'm coming.
Give
in
it
the
to me,
room.
honey.
Because
I got some single friends on here that need to hear this.
When you allow, and I'm just gonna put it out there, I know we're supposed to remain godly, but this is one of the things that will damage a relationship before it starts, is when you allow yourselves to be physically intimate with each other. Because now the focus, and now you done shared each other's bodies, and you done shared this intimacy, and then lust takes over. It's no longer about you and this person growing together, getting to know each other, because now it's just the body is desiring to be with this person, and it's not you emotionally connecting with this person. It's not you spiritually connecting with this person at that point. And for Frank and I, he already know one of the things that I said when we were entering into this relationship, and he has no problem with me saying this, is I do not want us to engage intimately, physically, until we get married. And until this day, we're not doing that. This is what has allowed us to continue to spiritually grow, emotionally stay connected, and continue to deal with the little things that may blossom to big things, and I focus on the physical aspect. Because I'm just speaking off of my experience. That is what got me into my past 2 marriages and my past 2 divorces, is going into the relationship too fast and not learning about one another.
Can I drop something on that? Let me drop. I believe that I never want my girl to go to God repenting about somewhere I took her before time.
Oh, that's heavy.
Yeah, don't go to your daddy telling your daddy Frank. But so I think that God's order is spirit, soul, then body. He gives you a spiritual connection. And then in time, you begin to understand one another's mind, will, and emotions. And then ultimately, after your nuptials, body. But you got to start in spirit, because that's where you really begin to see, am I connected by God? It's hard to work backwards. And, because I've been a pastor, I've seen guys be with girls. I've pastored guys and girls that were together, and they've been home and they've been doing everything they wanted to do, which I tell people, when you're engaging in the sex now, it's like driving drunk. You think you're driving in a straight line, but you're not.
Come on,
you're all over
where
the road.
You going?
And then
that ain't your husband. You don't know where you going. You just out there on the road.
She calling you hubby, the kids calling you daddy, and now you talking to me about, I don't know if I can do
Pastor
that.
Henderson.
Because you done went into the relationship backwards. You need to go in spirit, soul, body, and then God can be honored in that.
That's so good. Thank you for saying that, because have you guys ever seen those commercials where they talk about the buzz? Because people are like, well, if I had one drink, I ain't drunk, right? I just have a buzz. And then they get in the car and they can't steer, but they only have one drink, right? Their vision is messed up. They're cognitively, they're off. They don't make good decisions. That's just one drink, right? So what makes you think if you take a sip of someplace you're not supposed to be, you're going to be okay? And what you said was so Felice. He said he don't want Yolanda to go to the Father and say, look what Frank done made me do. Father God, look, he's so fine, and he said this, and he smelt good, and look what happened, God. Look what he made me do. That right there.
That's good. But you know, I can tell you what I appreciate the most about that, sis, is that he said earlier that, you know, he wants to make sure that she walks in a certain position when they're walking next to each other. But that just
Yeah.
shows that not only does he want to protect her physically when they're out in public or wherever they may be, he also wants to protect her spiritually. And that's
Yes.
what we have to look for when we're looking for mates, is
That
people that are
covering.
going to protect us spiritually, not just physically, not just our hearts, not just emotionally, but spiritually, because that is the worst thing that we can do, is lead each other to spiritual detriment. That is good, Pastor Frank. That's good. You dropped one
Yes.
that time.
You
That's what's
did
up.
drop the mic.
And don't and
Yeah,
let me give you some more mic. Let me give you some more mic.
Go on, bro.
I think that
Look,
healthy couples that love each other, there should be a healthy amount of sexual attention. She needs to know, I will. He knows that he needs to know, I will. But at the same time, they need to have, you don't need to be with nobody that's giving you vibes like they're not even thinking about you. You know what I mean? But you'll get
Yeah.
there at the Father's time. After you do the things
Mhm.
you're supposed to do, you get the certificate, you go have a ceremony, and you make it official. But I think there should be a healthy amount of tension there, because it helps them to develop sexual discipline. And
Mhm.
every couple needs that. They need sexual discipline, because your girl needs to know. Now, I know I seen him be what he needed to be with me, so I know he can be out there in that world and be the same way, and vice
Wow.
versa. So yeah, you just got to handle the fire. You'll be okay.
So good.
just flirt with each other. You'll be all right.
You'll be
Ain't
okay.
no wrong flirt.
Just keep flirting and run to the car.
Right,
You looking
run.
good in them sandals, girl. You looking good in them sandals.
Get on to the car quick,
I
Tanya.
never seen such pretty sandals in my life. Yes, I understand.
That is so
So
good.
bring
One thing
go
that
ahead,
I
sis.
really admire about you two, that I've heard kind of repeatedly over the things that you all have discussed, is that you have to allow yourself to be vulnerable in a relationship. And I think that that's what makes the best relationships, the most successful relationship, are two people that come together that don't mind being vulnerable with each other and knowing each other's weaknesses, and not only feeling like they always have to be the epitome of strength, but to let your man come and lay in your lap and just relax and debrief. And you might just hush and don't say nothing, and that
Come
be
on.
okay. You know, that's
Mm.
good stuff.
Yes, that's good. Yes, Doc. What you got?
Oh God.
I got some because I have to put this out there. You also have to make sure that if you are protecting your relationship and protecting your mate, you have to establish boundaries. So those people that used to be in your DM, you need to tell them you can't be in my DM. No, if you're committed to somebody, you can't be in my DM no
You got to
more.
get out.
You gotta
That's
get
right.
out. You know, this person is a priority. And if that person continues to come, let your mate know. It's okay to let your mate know, look, I'm having some issues with this person over here. Because believe me, Frank, he'll go check him. You know what I mean? But you should be secure enough in your relationship to know that your mate has your back, and you want to make sure that you're protecting your mate with those boundaries. Don't go running. And even if you have a disagreement, because those things happen, agreements are healthy for a relationship. So let me make sure people know that agreements are healthy for a relationship. But don't go and run tell Uncle Bob, cousin Joe, your best friend every time y'all have an argument, because now you're painting this picture about this person, and that's all it was an argument to them. You're painting an unhealthy picture to other people. And
And
then
that's all they remember.
you got other people in your relationship and in your business. When you tell one person, guess what? That person knows another person. That person knows another person.
Mhm.
Yes. And not only that, our families are not usually as forgiving as we are.
That's
So
true.
you open up a whole nother can of worms
Yes,
when you
that's all
start
they keep,
over
police.
disclosing, what's
Yeah.
going on in your relationship. So true.
And on the
Mm-hmm.
vulnerability piece, one of the things I would like to add is this right here. If you're with the person, and you're trying to be all God is calling you to be, we have to recognize that God is at work in the relationship.
Yes.
Because he's at work in the relationship. Even if you look at the relationship in Ephesians 5, Paul talks about all this stuff, and then he comes back and says, really, I'm talking about Christ and the church. So it's like, that's verse 32. He says, really, I said all of this, but I'm talking about Christ and the church. And if you think about it, he talks about how the church will have blemishes, spots, and wrinkles.
Yes.
And how a man has the ability to love her like he loves his own flesh and not hate his own flesh. But it really gets down into the fact that if you're in a relationship with a person, that person is not going to be perfect. That person will have things that they probably limp about their entire life. Like, I know for a fact that my lady has been through domestic violence. There will always be a piece of her that has that. Like Malcolm X said, you may not have raped the young lady when she was 5, but if you marry her, you're going to have to help her get through it. And the same way she helps me with my abandonment issues, I'm going to help her with her issues. We might both limp, but we're gonna limp on them 2 legs together to get to the destination.
That's so good.
And couples think, well, I come into this relationship and he gonna be perfect and she gonna be perfect. They not. You're gonna walk with a limp. It's gonna be that way. And in some area, your partner is gonna limp, and you have to be what they need in that area, and vice versa. And if you can do that, you can make a great relationship.
Amen. That's awesome. That is so. You did, Felice? Did you see what they did? We was talking. I was trying to take them to the projects, right? Not the projects where you live, but the projects they working on, right?
Right.
They kept it right here with how to hold each other, how to respect each other, how to really be there for somebody in a relationship. All that has to happen first before you start walking down any other roads together.
Right.
True.
And people need to hear that. They need to hear that right now. And the projects that they have going on, people are following them. So they're going to be a part of the projects and what they have that they're seeing them doing. But people need to hear these things right now. They're single people that need to hear. They're married people. I'm married, been married for a long time. But some of these things we need to hear as a reminder. We need to hear them from a man of God to just remind ourselves how to position, ourselves with our mate and show them how to be the best version of themselves so that we can also be the best version of ourselves.
Because people have to know that when your heart is right towards your spouse, towards your partner, you're always going to be for their elevation, their ascension, their growth. You want to see them bloom where they're planted in everything. There's nothing that Yolanda does that I don't want her to win. If she needs anything from me, I'll find a way to make it happen, a way to do it, a way to create it, whatever it is. I look at her relationships outside of our relationship. We talk about everything because I want her to win. I don't want her to fail. And I think couples have to learn that the first couple, God told them together to be fruitful, multiply, subdue, take dominion. He told them to do it together. He didn't say, Adam, you be the man and she's going to be a good woman behind you. It's like, nah, and God blessed them. And a lot of people don't like to recognize that the blessing is on the partnership. The blessing ain't on the individual in the partnership. It's on the partnership.
It's on the
togetherness. So good. That's so good. And Dr. Jerry never minces words when she talks about the work you have to do. And I think that's why, honestly, from the outside looking in, and as a single woman of God, I look at you guys and I say, the evidence of the work is there. And that's when you'll see the fruit, right? It's not like Dr. Jerry was walking around with blinders on, not doing what she needed to do. She was pouring into others and trying to get better. And in the process, here comes along the perfect dress. I mean, it looks so good on her, the perfect dress, right? But she couldn't have gotten that dress if she was still carrying the weight from years of, not working through trauma, not dealing with stuff. And you weren't about to wrap your coat around anything that wasn't presenting itself after all the work you did to get where you are. So the coming together, I think when the pastor, whoever he is, says that part about bringing the two to, I'm going to be a hot mess. So y'all probably want to sit me in the back where the guests sit.
We want you to let it out. We want you to scream it out.
Scream it out, sis.
We want to
Girl,
have a wedding. We want to have church. We want to have
Yes.
a party. We want to have it all together, all mixed in
Mm.
one. We want people to say, "Amen." Yes, sir. Go with it. We want it
Hallelujah.
all. Let's have a good time.
Yes, and I think I know you will have that because your fruit is evident already, and the ceremony hasn't even happened. You're serving the Lord together and individually. You're bringing projects about that bring people together to grow and serve the Lord in unison. You're taking the curtains off of things that need to be revealed, so that people can grow. Talk about the church that you guys have built together and that project that you're sharing, because so many souls are being impacted and you have a different style of how you do things. And I love it. Talk about that.
Yeah, we just really started kicking that in. I was kind of on hiatus when a sabbatical when I met her. She kind of divinely disrupted everything. And so now we're starting to get to the meat and potatoes of it. We're launching in March of 2022 in my old hometown. And so we've been building virtually online now. And so the wild thing about it is I've never been in a relationship with someone like Yolanda that works. Like, I thought I was a hustler.
She got the hustle in her, baby.
Oh my God. Sometimes I want to open her back up and just pull them Duracell batteries out because she's all quick. She is relentless. But,
we've all seen that side of her. Yes, Lord.
She has added so much to me. Systems, things that I never even thought about that has made, me as a person saying, this is my last time planting. I usually plant, I'll stay there a few years and then I'm gone. This time I'll plant and I'll be there in my hometown, and I'll be there till I'm probably about 70. And then I'll just start being like more of a pater, father figure in that fellowship. But yeah, it's like, I won't be a lead pastor anymore, but she has been such a incredible force for good and in connecting me with people like Lee and other people. We just been building this team, and it's been crazy. It's been a different type of plant because of her being in my life. So I'm excited about it. She a little bit crazy now.
Well, look, everybody gotta have a little
crazy. You don't get that much wisdom without a little bit of cuckoo, pal.
A little bit of cuckoo, yes, ma'am.
Got a little bit.
Yes, the whole circle is, Frank. Have you noticed that whole circle that surrounds her is just a little bit of?
I think it's the Gulf Coast.
I'm not down there, and I got my fair shake.
Right.
Yes.
So where you at, as a matter of fact, Frank. So, and she got a little bit of cray in her.
Yes.
I believe it.
Gene said it's called drive. Hello.
Yes, Gene. It is called drive. It's called overdrive. It's called nitrous.
And
sometimes I tell her, I'm like, look, it's 10:30. I ain't doing no work tonight. I'm going to bed. I ain't doing no work tonight. I don't want to hear about that right now. Hit me in the morning.
Hey, Brenda and Dr. Nicole, they all know everybody. Coach Gene Turner, they all done had a little bit of me, so they know.
Right.
Had a little bit of me, so they know the drive is all for a good cause and a purpose.
Right.
I mean no harm.
She means no harm. And you know what? When the both of y'all are sitting on that rocking chair, looking out over the water, maybe working on a chapter in your next book. You're gonna look back on these days when you had your head in the grind and you were serving and all of that nonstop and be like, thank you, Father God. Right. Thank you for keeping me while I was in my cray so I can walk out the purpose that you gave me with the person that you gave me. So I'm excited about that for y'all. That's what I thrive to have, so absolutely. You just keep on doing what you're doing. Even Chris, Daddy Gilliam said, he's becoming a better person because of the person that he's linked arms with. It's made him a better father and all of that. So it's power. Love is power.
It is.
And keep the fire lit. Don't put the fire out. Okay. I'm gonna just keep the fire lit. And
So
that's
true.
what happens when people in a relationship. They get so comfortable.
Yes.
Sometimes you got to nudge your partner, be like, "What we doing?" Because I mean, Frank would do it to me. He's like, "We need to watch a movie or something," you know. But you
Right.
have to. You don't want to get too comfortable, you know. Be like, "Okay, well, we need to go on this date." Like if we, because we in long distance relationships, we have to be extra, you know, to keep ourselves where we need to be. But when we in person, I'm telling you, it's like nonstop. Like I'd be like, "Come on, let's go take a walk at the park," you know, or whatever.
It's like 12 days into 3 days.
Right.
That's amazing, though.
Well, speaking of that fire, before we wrap up, Pastor, I want you to tell us a little bit about My Walk Past Hell from the male perspective, because you guys have that book coming out soon. And
Yes.
what is it like to actually be a part of this project with your woman as the visionary and you opening up and being so transparent? Tell us a little bit about My Walk Past Hell, the men version of it.
Well, I'm a little bit scared about it, you know. It's just
funny
because your cray gonna start coming out while you talking about
what it is. No, honestly, what it is you have these men that are coming together to tell their story, and seldom do men really do that. And so now you're getting all these guys that come together and telling their stories, and they're gonna talk. I'm leery about what is going to happen once this is dropped in the earth, because I think it's going to be an explosion of healing. It's going to be an explosion of men talking about how they really feel in relationships. I think all kinds of stuff. It's going to be a door opening like never before. And I think to me, when I look at it, I'm like, woo, are we ready?
A movement is really what it's about. Yes.
I'm excited though.
A movement.
But we got to come back about the LDR. Look, Gene was like, "Where did I miss? Did I miss that?"
I was just saying they skipped that part. What happened? How's that work? Yeah, that's a great question.
I love it.
You like the long distance thing, huh?
I like the long distance thing we had because it kept us from rushing everything we wanted to do. We really had to take a Polaroid and shake it and let it develop. We couldn't rush it. We couldn't be at each other's house every day, all night, watching movies, watching TV, eating together. We couldn't do it. We were just like, hey, we got to make the most of this time. And then I got to go back and attend to the things I got to attend to, and vice versa. So it gave us time to really grow, talk, learn one another, speak to one another. And it's been actually a blessing. And, you know, it made us even think about partnerships and relationships and how they can really work. So I love it. I love it. Now I miss her all the time, every day. But I know it's like it's a governor on our relationship. There's a governor on it, and God won't let us go over 55. Because he knows if I was down there, I'd be trying to go 65, 70. The testimonies we had today might not be our testimony.
Amen. We appreciate the truth in you.
That is so good. That is so good. And you know how we are here at Rise and Shine. Felice, it's just been so awesome having you next to me. We miss B, but she was like, oh my God, yes, Felice is going to be amazing. And yes, you have been. This conversation has been awesome. It really has. I'm just so grateful because I knew you guys were coming with the truth to share today, even if you had to blush just a little bit, Pastor Frank. You know,
let me get that bid, baby. Let me get that bid.
Yes. So I'm going to put it in the chat because I definitely want it to be talked about. I want you guys to go look into this. And I'm glad you brought it up, Felice. The reason I brought you up is because you've been doing this for a while now, because you know when to kick it to certain things. And come on now. I think I see a show in your future, sis. Let's go. Let's go.
It's so funny that you say that. So this honestly is my first time being a co-host, and I'm so thankful to Tanya for giving me this opportunity. But like we talked about a little earlier, one of all of our mutual mentors, Karen Crockett Cherry, is one of the visionaries that has brought all of us together, and that's such a blessing. Yes. But she also brought me to an amazing person, Dr. Nicole Peters, and through her, a couple of of us on this very show today are actually going to be launching shows in the very near future. So we're really, really excited about that. The title of mine is going to Be the Light, with Felice Kelly Gillum, and we are going to just really dig deep into how to find your internal light, share stories of miracles and of triumphs so that we can all recognize how to be the best version of ourselves and bring the light in this world that's filled with so much darkness. So I'm so excited about that. If anyone is interested in being a guest on my show, I think Tanya put our contact information in the chat. Please reach out to me. We would love to have you on the show.
Yes, I want you guys to reach out to everyone you see in front of you, because as I always say, I'm one of the weird ones. I'm one of the real ones. And so I'm grateful to God that he puts real people around me. I want you to win, just like everybody here. So I don't have an issue with sharing your stuff and helping facilitate that. I want everybody to get what God has for them. And guess what? We all coaches, we're all advisors. But we can all four of us say the same sentence and it sound different to the other people that are listening. And they could be, oh my God, I've been waiting for somebody like Pastor Frank to help me find my way. I'm struggling in this area. And he walked past hell for that specific thing that I am in hell for right now. And I need to connect with him. Who is Tanya Blackwood to keep you from that? Right. So I'm always going to put people just like me and not like me in your face. You need to realize that God has an assignment for you, not just for the four of us here, but for you specifically. And you need to be open to receive it. And he might send it to you in a wrapping paper you didn't even imagine it being wrapped in.
That's right.
So you have to be open to receive that. Dr. Nicole Peters is she's an Underground Railroad visionary.
Yeah. And my advocate twin. That's my advocate twin. My advocate twin.
That's the other part of crazy right there.
That's the other part of crazy. And we both from Louisiana. So now what?
Help us. Yes.
That's so true.
Yes. I mean, Karen, Dr. Nicole, and far be it to put, I want Arise and Shine to be in a place that people have been mightily blessed coming on the show. It had nothing to do with me and Benicia. It just had to do with God's grace and timing. And so being a vessel for that, these women that I have in my life, and now Pastor, the infamous blushing Pastor Frank Henderson in the house.
That's right.
You know, when God puts you at a table with people that are unexpected, or people that you never thought you would sit at a table with, pay attention.
Yeah.
Pay attention. It doesn't mean you don't have to eat everything. You may not like squash. Leave the squash alone.
It's true.
Have the mashed potatoes and the gravy and the turkey and leave the squash. You don't have to eat it all, but pay attention, because God doesn't put you anywhere without cause, reason, and intention. So I hope that you've enjoyed today. We started out on a mission to talk about power is love. And I think that we have more than accomplished that, because I've taken away some great things from this union right here. The union of two and the union of four. There's some things I'll show you on video on the way out. So please stay with us. I couldn't bring myself to stop the flow and show you any video. That was the plan, but I just couldn't do it. This was too good.
Wow.
So I will play some stuff on the way out, but I do want to give our guests the final word. I want each of you to share something that's on your heart, or what you'd like to leave these folks with. Is we're just going to give you the screen, and I'll give it to you together, so you can both be up there together. Me and Felice will step down, and you just talk to the people.
Yeah, I love it.
Ladies first, babe.
Sorry, that bingo come off of me. Dang, see, look, you see that? We in sync there.
Yeah.
But I really just want to say that since the topic of the show was love is power, it truly is when you have that person that's truly for you and value you.
Yeah.
You know, and the other thing is, remember, when you're in a relationship out of love, remember, love is easy. It's only as hard as you make it. And if you're not growing together, because I'll tell you right now, I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago. I'm not the same person I was 20 years ago. Same thing happens in a relationship when you're with somebody. You're going to continue to grow together. So 5, 10 years from now, we are going to be even higher in our relationship and have grown so much that we're going to probably look back even at this show right here and laugh and be like, man, look where we
Yeah.
were at and look at
Right.
where we are now. So
Right.
just
Right.
remember that relationships, you're always going to be learning about each other. So
Yeah.
embrace
Embrace it for real. And what I'd like to say about it is that I thank God for you, babe. I thank God that He brought you into my life. It's not like I've got this great ability to pick out people or anything. It's just divine providence. It's God being sovereign. It's Him bringing
it.
people together that need to be together. It reminds me of how, Ruth was a, a person that had lost her husband
Mhm.
and decided to go with Naomi and go to back to Jerusalem and ended up meeting Boaz. And then next thing you know, she's in the history books and she's
Mhm.
talking about how, in the lineage of Christ, the lineage of David, everything, all because of a decision. And, it's because divine providence has a way of putting you where you need to be. And, when I was in Bible school, they used to say, how do you know that you are where you are supposed to be? And the answer to the question was, it's because you're there. And God has a way of just leading you, putting you where you need to be. And I thank God that I saw you on Facebook and that I had enough sense to just tag you in something. And we ended up having some conversations. And where we are today, I would have never imagined in what God will do through us by us just being who we are. I'm amazed at it. I have no idea to fathom to even think about how our life would turn out, but I do know it'll be so kingdom, so explosive, and so empowering for us and others. And as long as we learn those things that we need to learn and be what we need to be, I think we're going to be all right. I appreciate Miss Tanya and Felice for having us today. It's been an honor just to rock out with y'all. I always
Yes,
try to be on my best behavior around your friends and stuff. So
that's right. That's
thank you
right.
all so much for loving us and supporting us. We think it's really big. And I think no matter how arrived people think they are, we all are just like hot butter when it comes to being loved and supported. And we need that. So thank y'all so much. We love you.
Right, right.
You are so welcome. We were so blessed to
Yes,
have you on here today, right, Felice?
absolutely. Absolutely. We love you guys.
Yes, it was
We love
great
you
to
too.
rock it out with y'all. It was awesome to rock it out with you, Sister Felice.
Yes, I enjoyed you, sis. Always a pleasure.
Great. Well, you guys, usually, the show after the show and the show before the show is usually crazy good too. But I want to respect your time. So I'm going to put you in the green room and we'll catch up with you. Felice and I are going to say goodbye and put video outtakes on and just bless our folks. You guys come back and see us next week. Thank you for all the love that you are sharing with us right now. It's coming from left and right. And we try to bring you the best every weekend. So we will be back next Saturday with some extraordinary guests and have some extraordinary conversation again. Um, we love you. Be good and all that jazz. There's a couple of events. Let me say this before we go. There's a couple of events that are coming up that are amazing events. One is on Wednesday. Dr. Nicole has organized this amazing event. Let me make sure that I get every name. Well, no, I'm not going to list the names, but the title alone: Snatch Back Your Power of Love. Love is Never Abuse. Y'all need to look for that on the 27th at 5 to 9 Eastern time on Amazon, Roku, the Believe in Your Dreams network. Look, we coming out the box swinging, y'all. Okay, Dr. Nicole is going to be on there. My sister Felice and Dr. Jerry, we're all going to be on there. And my title is, excuse me, but that's not yours. So come in here, come in. I don't know if y'all want to release your titles, but I'm telling my title now. That, excuse me, that's not yours. So if you want to find out what's not yours, I suggest you show up, right? And what about this other event tomorrow, Dr. Yolanda? I'm gonna put that video on. You want to say something before I put that on too?
Yes, tomorrow we are having the 5th year anniversary of the Gulf Coast Gospel Music Awards. It will be aired on tomorrow at 4 p.m. You can watch it locally on CW and Fox along the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and you can also tune in on their Facebook page, Mississippi Gulf Coast Gospel Music Awards. So it'll be streaming live there as well. But I'm excited, to be able to see all of the honorees and listen to all the good gospel music, and just, it was a wonderful celebration.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch. And we also have Sister Leaders. Leaders. That's coming. What's the dates on that show? Well,
that's
the event.
The Sister Leaders Conference is at the end of the month, October 29th to the 30th. And that is by the visionary, Dr. Karen Hills Pruden.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to play all of that on the way out, y'all. You be blessed. Have an amazing weekend. Register for the Sisters Leaders Conference. It's free, y'all. Register. It's going to change your life. Okay? And I'll see y'all soon.
See you.
Be good. Yes. Love you. Love you. Let's go ahead and get this on so you can see what's coming at you.
Letitia Cotton Enterprises presents the 5th annual Gulf Coast Gospel Music Award, hosted by Krista Overby, Jamel Strong, Bishop Samuel McGill III, and red carpet special guest appearances by comedian C. Richard Dorsey, with performances by some of the nation's up-and-coming artists. Join us as we honor Pastor Ken Braxton, Yvonne Matthews, Cornelius Edwards, Evelyn Turntide A.G., Rayla King, and the Anointed Pace Sisters. Sunday, October 24th, 4 p.m. Central on Fox, the CW, and streaming on our Facebook and YouTube social platforms.
Sis, great work today.
So good. Yes.
You are such a rock star. Did you see your daddy all proud of you? Did you see that? Did you
Oh, that's my mama.
Oh, I read that the way I wanted.
Yeah. Well, the name could be unisex. I
wasn't even looking at the picture, but mommy's proud of you. That's great too.
Yeah, Lord. That's my mommy. My daddy doesn't do
Facebook. All right, y'all. We're going to head out. I'm going to play another video and we will be done. Felice, I just had to come back on real quick and say thank you, sis. I love you.
Thank you, love. I appreciate you so much. It was a great show.
Thank you. Take it easy. I'll see you soon.
Join us for the Sister Leaders Conference this October 29th and 30th. We have 4 powerful keynote speakers. Increase your visibility through advertising in the Sister Leaders magazine. And we have an anthology that is packed with the who's who in female leadership. Look us up, sisterleadersconference.com.
I think that's it, huh? I think we're done.
Love you, sis.
Bye, honey.